What's up, folks? It's 2023 hitting you upside the head like a sack of donuts. It's Richie Dubs in the house here, Pizza Bagel in the stream. I'm Brody Alfonso. We got Twiddler's Place, Michael Superbacker, John from the Barrel House. You know it. I know it. Not to mention MTG Gaming Bob. How are you doing, all my friends, including Michael Superbacker? Thanks for having my back again. The very first episode in 2023. Where are you guys taking Brody to this morning? I hope you've got your locket on. Maybe you've got me in your pocket, sitting on the dash, sitting on the kitchen counter as you get ready to make your way into this wild western world. I'm glad to be there with you. Have no fear, Brody's here, and Michael Superbackers got our back. Serious as a heart attack, these MTG stocks and talks will be coming to you live Monday through Friday. I am so glad you guys have got me with you here today. Little sip of coffee, chat is blowing up. Let's just have a moment for ourselves here. Be ever present in the moment with one another. The Alphonsonians. And have a little sip of coffee. Let's enjoy that morning. Ooh, feeling good to see you. It's about damn time. Thanks for all the greets, gets. Oh, man. I appreciate all the well wishes. You know, New Year's are a thing, you know? If you're new to Magic and maybe you haven't seen too many New Year's, maybe a dozen or more, you get to stay up at late at night. But if you know me, I like to spend New Year's. I like to open the new year with a splash. I really do. Uh, Take a jump in the lake, maybe get your body temperature down, try to cool off, and plunge into the new year. What did you folks get up to? I hope you had a good one celebrating it with friends and family. I'm really gonna just roll through. Gonna roll through the comment section here today. Michael Superbacker is wishing everybody a happy new year. Twiddler's glad we're back. Gaming Bob's glad we're back. And the chat is up. Richie Dubs gonna be here in mind, ever present. Thanks for joining us here today. I gotta get the ticker going this morning. It's something. It's something. Little trouble with the updates on the stream, a few other things. But nevertheless, we will be bringing you the stock desk. Lots of news articles that we can cover here today. There's a lot backlog, but that's great because it's more cannon fodder for the show. Without further ado, here we go. Let me take a look. What do we got up on the stock desk here this morning? Brody wants to have a little look and see. Let's bring this up for Hasbro stock. We want to check the Hasbro stock. We do. Well, let me just fix this up for us here. A little technical moderation here this morning. It is what it is. Give me a second here. Stock desk. Hope you folks are drive safely to wherever you go. Did you get some snow? Man, it's been an interesting year this year. We had a little bit, about a foot. Been traveling. Let's get our cast screen here going up. MTG, we want the stock desk. Yes, we do. This one here. Give me a minute while I the stock desk rolling. We got some news articles from the gang over at MTG Stocks. I'm pretty excited to bring some of those to you folks today. How's that working? Is that all? Is that happening? Is that what we want to see? I believe it is. Let's go here. We're gaining ground here, folks. It may take a while, but that's okay. Alrighty. Let's clean this up a little bit here. New Year's resolutions in the bag. Anybody? I don't think Brody's not disclosing any New Year's resolutions here this morning. Uh if you got one you'd like to share with us, feel free to put it in the comment section below. We are going to go back in time just a little bit. It's going to be a lot of fun because I've been kind of bagging on these articles just a little bit because I really want some stuff to talk to you folks here on the channel. So we can roll back to as far as December 25th. And there was some stuff that we didn't get to cover here because the was slow to come out before the new year. So we got some discussion on the over under going back to actually on this Christmas Day, which is pretty cool. I'm gonna have a little sip of coffee and some weekly winners that are kind of backlog for us. So that's really cool. Got a lot of articles that we could cover, and I want to just get into a little sip of coffee here for you. Stock disc is up. So Arjun's got some articles here, and then we're gonna have to cover the movers and the shakers. This is where okay, we got all kinds of stuff. Uh we get to go all the way back to Goblin Welder. So we got some plenty of weekly winners here. This is why I'm stoked to do this show for you folks. All right, let's roll. We got choices to be made. I'm gonna make sure the chat is going up. And Johan Matuzzi, hey, welcome to the channel. Hey, buddy. I'm glad you could make it here this morning. Glad to have you with us. Uh, hoping to make this just a little bit chattier here this morning. I know everyone's got that song pinned in their head. What are we gonna run down here today? Do we want to do the all list? We might as well look at some cards here on the all list. It's not a bad idea. Uh, this is like what I like to do with you folks here is just to check out, like to see if we've noticed anything out of line here. Anything big in the new year? Well, let's maybe read some articles here and check out the all list here today. We're over at the Goldfish site. We do want to just make this a little bit bigger. And what do we got? Black Lotus. Ooh, Black Lotus on the daily. Look at that. Hello. Black Lotus. How you doing? Mock Sapphire. Oh wow. Dust my Brody's got to wipe his eyes. Okay. Okay. We got the Black Lotus on the top of the list here. All right. Seeing a tick up in price. Happy New Year. Nice to see you, Tom Mitchell. Tom Mitchell, we're checking out the all list here. It's January 9th, 2023 for all you folks joining us. First show back. Appreciate you guys popping the like button, hitting the subscribe button. And anybody who checked out the schedule there, it's going to be Monday to Friday, 5:15 Mountain Time, 7:15 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for joining us. A little bit of Magic Talks and some Magic Stocks. So we got action on the all list with Black Lotus taking a bump up in price. Oh, but before we do this, let's check out the price of Hasbro stock. Tom's here. We can start the show. Let's go. Hasbro stock price. It's been moving up. It's been moving up over the last day. So like here we are Monday, right? It's a trading day, right? It's a trading day and we can play. We can look at the Hasbro stock price. This is one. $64.86. We're still waiting. And I've heard a couple of YouTubers, peoples out there talking about when do we get the fourth quarter earnings for Hasbro, right? When do we get them? Well, there's been a lot of talk about when we're getting them. Look at the 5-day chart. Yeah, it's been ticking up and then over the month. So from $60 all the way up to, let's see here, $60 all the way. It's actually been moving up. $60 up to 64.86. It's up like $5, 8%. Okay. Well, other folks were saying late February, but who really knows when the exact day is that we'll get the fourth quarter earnings from Hasbro. But we can't wait to see it. It's going to be interesting. So just keep in mind, like, this is a slow moving ship, right? People are going to watch this stock price, but we're not going to, like, they're on around New Year's. I saw a Twitter post. It said something to the effect was, it was a Mark Rosewater post. I think it was, Happy New Year. Enjoy the cards that we were working on 2 years ago. So that's a pretty common gag or gaff in the Wizards community. So it's kind of weird that if there's a problem with the game right now, it's gonna go on. We're gonna unless they just like completely about course, but it's gonna continue on this print pattern for the next 2 years before we see any changes that are made today really go come into effect long term. So like let's look at this. Let's look at this Hasbro price here, going over the year. Ooh, I don't know. That's kind of like look at over the year. No, because that's like it's only one day. Brody, learn to read these charts, Brody. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, so over in a one. Okay, so this time last year, where are we here? Yep, January 9th last year. This one. Let's go in heading this way. It's gonna end up in Brody's mug here if we're not careful. Right? Hasbro stock right into the mug. And we're going to take a sip of that here with you folks today. Ruchi Dubs. Let me just take a look here. Morning, Tom. Click the bell for notifications. Johan Matuzzi. I'm doing good, Johan. I'm glad to be back. Get some airtime, get my feet wet, Just just got out of the lake and happy to be back to do the show with you folks today. So Hasbro stock, we're waiting for those fourth quarter earnings to come out, and that's something that everybody is sort of anticipating to see what that's going to look like. It's a new year. I hope you folks are doing well. Let's go over to the all list where we started to see some price action here. A little bit of attitude, price attitude. Hmm. Black Lotus. It's up 60%. We haven't. I'm surprised to see this here on the list here. The first thing this morning. Tom Mitchell, what do you want to do here? We'll just look at the all list real quick. See the Black Lotus and a couple other cards here. This card is up 60%. So maybe one is sold over the holidays. Let's make this a little bit easier to see here. There we go. We got that. Look at going back. Let's pull this back. Let's run the chart back a little bit. I don't know how many people are buying a Black Lotus, but I tell you, when I was at Magic 30, there was a few people buying Black Lotuses. They wanted them for decks, and I did see uh, some interesting chat on Twitter yesterday. I might see if I can find you folks the article. I'm sorry about that. I might see if I can find you folks the article. People are starting to open up like qualifiers and competitive play in like vintage vintage. So I've got a cool vintage deck I was hoping to share with you folks. So that's probably where people are going to be picking up this Black Lotus. There was a few people picking them up at Magic 30. I met somebody who had bought their first one, but I don't know how many of these are selling. It's the Displacer Kitten deck is apparently making waves in vintage right now. Paradoxical Outcome Displacer deck. Yes. So let's see if we can maybe find that. Uh, oh gosh, there's so much stuff on here. I'll see if I can find that. I did retweet it, so I'll see if I can find it and share it with you folks. Here, this deck right here. This was something pretty cool post that I saw on Twitter. Giuseppe De Vincenzo. So this fella posted a win last night, or on the 7th. Uh, just won the vintage tournament at Damnation MTG Fest 2 in Pizza. Kitten Jewel is gasoline, and you know I like this deck, right? Who wouldn't? It's a workshops deck. Got one copy of the Island of Tolarian Academy, and it's got that Seagate Restoration card. This deck is a beast. So people are starting to like. This is why I'm so excited to look at these lists, right? And especially see the Black Lotus up there because you know what? There it is. He's running the Giuseppe is running this Beta Lotus, right? Nice deck here, power, everything all powered up. It's got that Sovereign Skyship, right? And then the 4 copies of the Coveted Jewel. So we were playing that at 30. And then, like, it's running the Displacer Kitten. And I thought this deck was gasoline. Absolute gasoline. Okay, so here's the paradoxical outcome list, right? This is a pretty cool list. I like this list. So I was hoping to share that with you folks today. Check out the Twitter link. It's in my the deck list is there if you guys want to see it. It's pretty cool. Um Displacer Kitten deck. This is a paradoxical deck including the Lotus and it's pretty popular right now. This one's playing Lavinia. Interesting. So there's a lot of versions of it. This one includes a Monastery Mentor, which is like gonna add you like the Xerox, like the copy token creature. Um, the copy token creature aspect to the game. That will include Black Lotus. So that's what people are buying it for. Is really good condition for dual land. Let's see. Holy smokes. New Year's resolution is to offer way more MTG content this year other than games, says Twiddler. I need to build my brand. Absolutely. You got a kick-ass brand going over there, Twiddler. I like the gaming. Your site's really fun. I could see just staying over there when the games are happening and just having a good time. There's like a bunch of people playing and I enjoy it. I wish I had more time uh for that too. I am good, Johan. Reserve, okay, check reserve list. Taiga bought one for a game a couple of weeks ago. I'll check it out, Twiddler. Revised dual lands, very cool. I'm looking at it a couple of things in the market of this new year, and I'll tell you, front was near mint, back was LP. Have access to assign one too. I thought I remembered you saying it was like a nice LP, really good condition dual land. Nice. I'll be the judge of that one. I win and see if you send it to me, Richie. Hey, Brody Chan is in the house. Morning, Ed. Happy to have you, Ed from the Dual Brain channel, the thinkingest man in the game of Magic the Gathering. Let us know if you have a premiere coming up this morning or any videos coming up. We'll be on well past the hour here this morning with you folks. We're going to be doing a little bit of Magic talks and some Magic stocks, and we've got all the friends checking out the channel here today. We're just checking out this deck that won the vintage tournament, Damnation MTG Fest in Pizza. Kitten Jewel is gasoline. This card, it includes a copy of the Black Lotus from he's running a Giuseppe's running a beta version. So like this is probably like was that type of play is what's going to be driving some sales on the Black Lotus, if any. So we also got the power, the mocks up 20%. And Tom, what list are we going to do here this morning? We don't do modern cards, legacy cards, vintage, or old school. You be the judge. Let us know in the comment section below. Anybody getting a collector's edition Black Lotus over the next few weeks? I'm seriously, folks. I'm still waiting. I'm absolute like there. We're gonna see. Brody's waiting for a little bit more of this. A little bit more of this. I'm still waiting. I am anticipating like Hasbro stock maybe to do a little bit more of this. I'm just yeah. Okay, tell me what you think. Demonic Hordes. Here's a collectible card. Seeing that in the top. Go vintage. We want to do vintage. Okay, we're gonna do the vintage list here. And let's just take a look at some weekly winners over the last couple of weeks. We've had a bunch of articles. So weekly winners January 5th. These are the cards that they are talking about over at the stock desk. So we do have some new weekly winners. Okay, so for an exciting upcoming new year, they're happy to talk about Phyrexia All Will Be One. There's definitely some discussion on the spoilers of Phyrexia All Will Be One, but I'm hearing a little bit more about Dominaria Remastered. Benevolent Hydra. This rare from Jumpstart 2022 briefly spiked to $250 on the average price chart this week. Is clearly a fluke, but that doesn't mean that something isn't happening with this card. Similar to Hardened Scales, this is also a card that you play and you get +1/+1 counters on the creatures you control. You can also use the Hydra to put these counters on different creatures as well as obviously easily including Commander, Hydra's deck if you play Hardened Scales. Is it worth it to play for 2 green for some extra value? Later, you draw this card, the better it becomes, and you have the mana available to put a larger creature into play. And if it's a Hydra, which is popular creature type in Commando, Gargos, so Vicious Watcher is one of the earlier and more popular commanders. And I wouldn't be surprised to see it showing up in these decks as well as new commanders like the Swarmlord or Runati, the Behemoth Caller. Ooh, let's check this guy out. A 1/3 Cat Shaman. Ooh. Okay. As we mentioned, the card spiked tremendously on the average price, but has come down to more normal levels. Currently, the average price is around $25, coming from 15 before the spike, and nearly around 7 in December. The market prices also went up this past week, about $8 to $20. So people are definitely buying into this card. On the same note, we're seeing a rare from the first Jumpstart moving up slowly as well. This card is Branching Evolution, which has a similar effect for extra +1/+1 counters on your creatures. I like this type of effect. I also like the Aphia Grove. So it's a pretty interesting card to see. I don't know how many people are building Hydras. I would like to build green Hydras in Commander. Brody's going to build himself a Commander deck made of Hydras at some point. But for now, I'm going to build myself another cup of coffee here for you folks. Well, it's pretty excited to see some new articles here. Branching evolution. Clothswell. So we're just going to run down these weekly winners for the last episode here, and then we're going to get into the vintage list. We got Kloss Will. These are like the command cards, I think, because they have modes to them. Yeah, this one has two. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast it, choose both. One green, two red, and X. Breathe Flame. Kloss Will deals X damage to each creature without flying. And Smash Relics. Destroy up to X target artifacts and/or enchantments. Wow, that's pretty good. Huh. Instant speed. That's really good. All right. We like it. So Kloss Will card hitting the movers and the shakers list here. Instant from Commander. Adventures in Forgotten Realms. And Arjun's a little bit surprised it doesn't see more play. Works with dragons in Commander, where all your creatures are flying. And the artifact enchantment hate seems pretty good as well. Even though you have 100 cards in your commander deck, players do love to have some versatility in their cards to limit the amount of dead draws in any stage of the game. And if you control your commander, you even get to play both modes. Shockingly enough, we see this card being played in Cloth Unrivaled. I think I've opened this 4/4 before. This is the one that makes kobolds? No. When it attacks, add X mana of any combination of colors where X is total power of attacking creatures. Spend this to cast until end of turn. If you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. So you can dump mana from Cloth into that thing. Cloth can generate mana. It sounds like a fine interaction, as we discussed with Cloth in September as a winner because of the extra popularity of dragons that came with Miram Sentinel Worm. Miram's this green, blue, red commander, Spirit Dragon 6/6 with Ward. Whenever another non-token dragon enters the battlefield under your control, create a token that's a copy of it. Except the token isn't legendary if that dragon is legendary. Okay. Interesting enough. Then the number 3 card in the weekly winners, Dranith, Magistrate, a 1/3 white human wizard, cost you 1 white and 1. Your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. This is like a Taxes card for sure. Who wouldn't want to play this? My Gaming Bob says it might be interesting to run Hamza as your commander if you play a +1/+1 counter strategy on Hydras. John from the Barrel House likes the Dominaria remastered set. And Richie Dubs is headed into the mountains. Twiddler, you're buying a bunch of remastered? Yeah. Ed from Dual Brain says he doesn't know why Rudy's and others are acting like we just entered a new era. We are in the same WotC overprinting era that we have been for a couple of years. Yeah, well, we're gonna not see a lot of change for 2 years because the cards sets and the print runs that they've been developing are like a good 2 years in advance. So despite where we're at now, we're going to see like another 2 years of rough running at this point. There's another interesting chart I wanted to show you folks, and I'm going to share it with you folks today. So I thought it was I think you'll like it. We're probably going to see a couple of years of of bumpiness out of the Wizards of the Coast. Let's have a look here. Um, Here's a chart I wanted to put up for you folks. It's something that I saw just last night, and it's called "Periods When to Make Money." Right? Have you seen this chart? So this is a cool chart that's been going around, and people have been looking at passing it around on the internet. I'll put it up for you here. So it's like A, B, C, right? So this is a chart. Some people might have seen it. It's an old one, but this I think was printed in the back of like a farmer's magazine or like a guy who owned a handy hardware store used to put out a magazine and a hardware store with all the items that they had. And this was like his chart in the back. And it's been going around. So like it shows a kind of a up and down pattern if you look like if you want me to just simplify it down it shows you like this up and down pattern here. Let's make it a little bit more. It's got this up and down pattern here going like this, right? So as we move left to right in time, like there goes from good times to hard times, right? So when we look at where we are now, that's over here, 2023, right where the circle is, right? So in C, hard times, low prices, and a good time to buy stocks, corner lots, good, etc. And hold till the boom reaches the year of economic good times, then unload. We're on like the hold the line period here. There is no question about it. Like this is one of the best times to like if you look at this chart, it says it's one of the best times to make money right now. Right here is where we are. So I'll leave this up for you folks if you want to have a look. But what anyone ever seen this chart? I like this chart. I like the Hydras concept. We're probably going to build a Hydras deck at some point. Let's see, Hamza. We're gonna have to look at Hamza as a commander. Just record a response to the Timmies at the comment section. Good to hear that, Ed. I love hearing what's going on over the Dual Brain channel. Going to be poor until 2035, right? Well, no, it's not like it's not necessarily. If you look right here, right here is sort of where 2026 is, right? Years of good times. So this is the interesting about this thing about this chart. There's another chart that runs underneath it, right? So it up to 2019 is like 2019 years in which panics have occurred. So the A is the year of the top one is years of which panics have occurred. Okay, let's not talk about which panics they were. Let's just say a panic occurred. Okay, this one here. So it's like a trend. Like this just I didn't make this chart. This has come out a long time ago, but it says there's panic 2019, right? So like in a year there's a panic. 20 these are the years that have a panic. 81, 1999, 2019. And then there's this chart inside the chart. So we're pointing to right here 2026 is where good times, right? So we are down here in 2022 in hard times. And this is going to bounce back up right off of this dot right here in 2026, and this is a good times. So we're right here 2023, we're going to be in hard times, right? So this year is actually looking pretty good. There is no better time to uh, there's no better time period according to this chart to make money. Magic cards and stocks and Hasbro stock go down are no different. Uh, uh, I don't suppose collecting is evil. Wonder if I should run a bounty game with Dominary Remastered. Collecting became evil, quote unquote, when WotC started targeting collectors with hyper premium versions or stuff for more money, and it's not that the collectors did it, just sullied the idea. Well, the idea in this with this chart here is not that, you're not loading up right here on, like, I don't think loading up right here on, like, new remastered sets is the idea, and the type, like, I would like to be loading up on reserve list cards right around here, and the older cards like Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, Arabian Nights, and any cards that we're going to see off this chart over here. Let's check it out. Okay, so let's keep running the weekly winners. So we saw Draneth the Magistrate, the Hydra's deck, and I want to just check out the card Bob mentioned, because uh deck tech matters here on the channel. We love to see what Hamza. So we want to just take a look at Hamza really quick, because I am interested in the gameplay, which is a funny thing. So you got players versus collectors, right? So there's, I think, is the minute you, for myself personally, when it becomes, when you stop playing Magic altogether and you're like, I'll never play Magic again, but I'll sell it. That becomes kind of, for me, that's like, just now you're all in on collectors. Hamza, Guardian of Arashin, is that the one? This costs one less to cast for each creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it. I'd say so. 5/5, one white. Selesnya card. A white, a green, and 4 for a 5/5. Elephant Warrior. Wow, this is an excellent card. Nice pick there, Bob. I run this with the in yeah, why wouldn't you run this in the Hydras, right? No mention of Hamza, but we got it here. We got you covered here on the channel. This is 25 cents for this card, or what? Tabletop. How much gonna pay in paper? Cool card. Creature spells you cast cost one less to cast for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Wow. So does that buff your Hydra casts? I think it does. Gaming Bob wants us to add that to the Benevolent Hydra deck. Uh, why not? Because it's all about gaming and playing for me. Pause Brown, 2023. Pausey. Getting some traction this year, Mr. Pause Brown. Thanks for joining us, buddy. What's up, gentlemen? We are checking the price of Hasbro stock here this morning. We're looking at it. It's a new year. It's actually, over the last 5 days, has taken a little tick up in price. It's actually up by 4 or 5%. It's a trading day, so it's the first Monday back. All the chuckleheads are in the stock room trading stocks, right? I think they just do it over the internet now. Is there any stock trading? Like, do they go to the floor? Yeah, I think they do. But I mean, most traders would be trading over the internet. We're looking at some charts here. We had a pretty neat one up just a minute ago, showing the good times, hard times chart, and we're checking out a little bit of the weekly winners. We're gonna run the vintage list on the movers and the shakers this week, and we're just capped off here since with we're going to read this article about Draneth, the magistrate, from the boys over at the stock desk. Since we're discussing commander cards, and here's the other thing, commander cards, like commander cards are it seems to be, this is the beef that players and other beef players have, is like there's commander cards in every set. Like every set is now getting printed like around commander very heavily. And it sort of takes the fun out of standard, and I think that's like a player driven format. It's great when there's like some commander cards in a set, but it's there's a I hear a lot of talk about there's almost too many print around sets featuring commander. So since we're discussing commander cards, we'll look at everyone's favorite commander card, Draneth, the Magistrate. It's a card you want to play when you want to make friends, right? Not really. This human wizard can prevent your opponents from playing spells from anywhere other than their hand, since commanders are played from the command zone. Draneth simply prevents your opponents from being able to play them. Fun insured. It's a taxes card. It'd be good in like you could even maybe throw it in legacy. It's only one white and one, right? So like this Draneth, it's not super expensive to cast. It's two. I mean, there's arguably better uh, taxes cards to play, like Thalia, because she's got first strike and like with swords and such. But it's a good include in a commander deck for taxes because you can always have another way to prevent your opponents from casting spells from other than their hands. So, Draneth is a card that's been seeing a little bit of play. It doesn't just say it in Commander, and it shows up in a bunch of modern sideboards as well as a way to beat strategies like Underworld Breach, uh, which is completely shuts down that card because you can't play cards with escape. You can't escape them out of your graveyard with Underworld Breach because you're essentially not playing it from your hand. So that Draneth is a good one. Cheap pickups. This Living Death card from the Warhammer 40k. It seems to be moving up. It's a removal wipe AoE Wrath effect card. 2 black and 3. Each player exiles all creatures from their graveyard, then sacrifice all creatures they controlled and puts all cards this way into the battlefield. This card works well with like Mind Slicer and a few other cards that wipe the board. It's a mean card that I've lost to plenty of times. Shout out to Mr. Killfoil for wiping the board with Living Death as and T Freezy, Coin Pomeroy. You guys know what this card can do. It's a card that it's like Living End on a sorcery. It's Living Death. It doesn't suspend, it just gets cast. And that's what happens, and it's the best. It's been identified by the Stocks Premium Penny Stocks as a featured card because it's reached its bottom and is starting a constant uptrend. Mama Liliana, 2 black and 1. Liliana, Last Hope. This 3 mana planeswalker is down and is slowly moving down. It costs you 3 to give a target creature -2/-1 till end of turn with a +1. It's got a mill ability and it gives you an emblem for zombies if you're playing zombie tribal. Monastery Mentor. This card was like 40-50 bucks or even more in foil. Like it's sort of sad to see how this is a pretty good this is a pretty good card, eh? This is a pretty good this card is a pretty good example of like something that's been hit with a reprint. The foil version of this used to be about 40-50, maybe 60 bucks if I remember. It was really good. I like playing it in Legacy. The Prowess trigger and the Xerox trigger, like in the deck list we saw a little bit ago with the Displacer Kitten, like a deck like this that plays a lot of spells that would trigger Prowess. That's a card that can really make a difference. So a card like Monastery Mentor is a great card to pick up. It's powerful. Somebody like Brody's probably got a couple copies of it, older copies, but probably traded into it. But now they're $7, and it's slowly moving down. You can pick up a copy of Monastery Mentor. Probably good just to have one. Arjun, thanks. A shout out to the folks over at MTG Stocks. Wishing you folks a happy 2023. We appreciate the articles and we like reading them here on the channel. So thanks again to you folks over at the MTG Stocks for bringing us a little bit more to talk about each and every time we do the show. Gaming Bob likes this card with Hydras because we were talking about Hydras on the weekly winners and the movers and the shakers. But now we get to do what we're doing, vintage lists, right? Because Tom Mitchell's in the house, and that's what we need to see. Movers and the shakers. We're doing vintage, I believe. That's the plan. Stick to it. All right, I'll apologize for that one. What are you guys doing? You guys having a good morning? It's Monday. Pause Brown is in the house. The coach is here. Never miss one of my games. The coach has always got my back, just like Michael Superbacker, the Dual Brain, Dirty Dubs, and the rest of the boys. MTG Game Bob says the CE boxes are actually a great idea. Temporal implementation and the general overprinting, rapid release schedules, and too many variants. Indeed. Thanks, Coach. I heart Happy New Year, bro. Uh, uh, Eldraine was great. Immediately ramped it up to madness in Theros, and that's when it went bad. I did enjoy the Eldraine, especially the collector's boxes. That was really exciting. It seemed like it was something new at that time. It really did. Draw its magistrate. Coach says Mythic. Richie Dub says the Mythic Edition was a better model. Coach says DR. Its magistrate is sideboard. Oh, Drana's Magistrate is sideboard in some modern decks, but it should get a ban. Sell, sell, sell. Coach thinks it's good enough to ban. What do you folks think? I mean, it could be. Can't play spells from anywhere but your hand. Yeah, that's some serious sideboard tech. It does sort of like even like Bolus's Citadel. Like that's a card that you can lose to pretty easily um in vintage, right? So there was another deck that I really I might have retweeted it, but there's another couple of cool vintage decks because there's a lot of like right now, folks, like let's check the vintage list because there's a lot of competitive play happening with the advent of the pro tour guys like Giuseppe here. Giuseppe Di Vincenzo are trying to get some points in. Bronze Tablet from fourth edition, I guess. I don't know where we're playing this. Bronze Tablet. Let's take a look. It's up 2%. Oh yeah, yeah. And the Chaos Orb. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at some of the old stuff. Bronze Tablet, 44 cents. Remove it from your deck if you're not playing for Ante. This is a strange card to see on the top of the list. It was an Antiquities card for 6 mana. Pay 4 and tap Exile Bronze Tablet. And target non-token permanent and a opponent controls. Just a permanent? Any permanent. That player may pay 10 life. If they do, put Bronze Tablet into its owner's graveyard. Otherwise, that player owns Bronze Tablet and you own the other exiled card. This just straight up takes their stuff. OMG. It's not playable unless you're playing for like Ante, and it enters the battlefield tap. It's 6 mana. This is a wild card. I could see set collectors wanting this card, and I don't see anybody playing it. But look at this. Pretty interesting chart for the bronzy tablet. Hey, why not? Let's take a look. Bronze tablet running east to west here. A little bump up in price around 2018, right? This is 2018 right here, a little peaky. She come up. That was the last time I saw price spike before 2021, and then a little poke up here. And now we're like trending just east to west now for another little while. Maybe you'll see a little bump up in price again. I don't know. It could be a hold, right? It could be something. It looks like a decent card. It's not really playable. It's collectible. You know, if you maybe somebody got a graded copy, Ed's probably got a graded copy. It's antiquities, right? Why not? Cool card, collectible card. It tells you a little bit about Magic and the gameplay design when the game was starting out and how it's changed from then till now. So a little bit of piece of history. Awkward gameplay mechanic on the card. Lots available, 13 bucks. Why not pick up a copy? Get yourself a bronze tablet. I wouldn't advise it. We're gonna wait a while. Like I'm seriously just telling. I'm not buying anything, and there's people that want to pick up some cards, but waiting for the super high end sale. 2 years, folks. We're gonna be 2 years of this. I'm not even kidding you. Uh, like I was showing you this chart here, right? 2023. We're in like a rough patch, right? No doubt about it. New dude about it. It's no big deal either, folks. It's no like that's where we're at. And like we're gonna head up till 2026. There's gonna be like an uptick, according to this chart. You know, if that's what. So I would settle in for maybe something like that, right? So like I'm not gonna rush to buy any cryptos. I'm not going to rush to buy any of these reserve list cards. I'm going to I think we got plenty of time. We got 2 years of the shake out all the shenanigans that they've been printing over at Wizards. And then we're gonna get like maybe back on track. I'd like to see a change in leadership or something, maybe, huh? 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 Comment in the comment section below. All right. Next up, Chaos Orb. Here's a card. Like, play it. Chaos Orb, Chaos Orb. Does this deck have one? No, but lots of people run it in old school. They really do. I see lots of people playing this card, Chaos Orb. It's 10 grand for a beta version. Ooh, oh no, that's the alpha. That's the Alfonso version. So not fun to play against, Richie Dubs. No, sir. The Drana's Magistrate, no fun to play against. It's like makes you play fair magic, that Drana's Magistrate. Right? Let's check out the Chaos Orb. I mean, this is an alpha version. How far back are they going to give us for price on the alpha Orbi? Let's see. We can go like this far back. Okay, so we're going back to 2021. 2021. We're just seeing like a little bit of east-west price action, right? And then like right here is where we see a tick up, 2021. And like this card is it's not going anywhere. Like there's a lot of people that would have loved to have an anniversary edition Chaos Orb, right? Like or a collector's edition Chaos Orb, so they can flip that bloody orb. But unfortunately, we got what we got, and we still have a $10,000 one, which I don't think anybody's going to be playing. 15,000 bucks at the vendors list. Okay, settle up. It's going to be a bumpy ride. How much is the unlimited version? 1,600. So I'd like to see maybe this is another card that Brody's got his eye on. I'd like to watch this and watch this for a little bit. Spider Steve's Collector Corner. All right. How you doing, Spider Steve? Thanks a lot for joining us here, 2023. We're just doing a little bit of magic, morning magic stocks and magic talks over on the channel. I'm Brody Alfonso. Pleased to have you with us. Thanks for joining us. New Year's resolutions in the comment section below if you want. Brody's not non signed a non-disclosure agreement with Freetrions, but the Chaos Orb may be on our list. Thanks for joining, Spider Steve. Say hey, uh, welcome to the channel. How much for an unlimited one? 1,500 bucks. All right, let's back it up. What else we got here? Decks playing it, right? Is there no decks found? All right. Can anybody think of a deck using it? Sure, why not? Old school. It's definitely played in old school. Cube. Cool, cool. Cube. Vintage. Little vintage. Let's keep going. Hey, we're running down the vintage list here this morning. We're just going to have a little sip of coffee. Thanks a bunch for joining us here. What else we got? Dark Pact. This is another card we continually see on here. So both the Chaos Orb, Alpha, Beta, and Unlimited all making the list here today on Monday, January 9th. And Dark Pact, this other anti card. So we got a bunch of two or three anti cards here. What do we got here? Dark Pact. Remove Dark Pact from your game if not playing for anti. If you own target card in the anti, exchange that card with the top card of your library. So here's a card nobody's gonna play. strictly collector, you could usually pick up a near mint copy of this or an excellent condition copy because nobody's actually going to be bumping this thing around on the table and playing it. Mark pack, eh? Enjoying the comment section. Coach says entitlement has nothing to do with the hate for Magic 30. That sounds like something Watsy would say at the cocktail party. uh, MTG Gaming Bob says if people are referring to any blog posts from Maro, I don't understand why the community is more willing to accept a blog post over an official printed policy. Hmm. What's up, man? Steve says, making some eggs and listening in. That's what we're here for. Where are you taking us with you, folks, today? I'm pleased to be with you, no matter where you're headed. Along with you today, safe adventures wherever you may go. It's Monday, so make sure you got Brody with you in the morning to start your day with a little bit of morning Magic the Gathering stocks and some Magic the Gathering talks. We're running the vintage list on the movers and the shakers, looking at Chaos Orb, Dark Pact, and a few other staples on the collector's backbone, including reserve list cards, and hanging out with the folks reading the comments in the comment section below. Gaming Bob says he's got some videos. I gotta should Chaos Orb. We're talking a little Chaos Orb. Yes. It's interesting, the feel of the game, that from my perspective, just to chime in there, like a small, close knit um, shop talk company like Wizards of the Coast that was developed in like a lab at MIT and like a group of people. So like campfire talk is uh taken to be like a part of the game, but at this day and age, at this level, at this scale, I guess is the question. At this scale, I think you need to look. People do need to look at Wizards printed policies for sure. But like we had like this is all we really had, right? Like this was the printed policies. Like they have things in Inquest magazine, so the communication has come a long way. Like if you look into communication studies and like printed paper and like what's on the internet and where people post things, I guess that's a question of communications, right? So picking a medium of communication and coming from a day and age where like Inquest magazine was like, you know, if you're coming from a day and age where Inquest magazine was like the communication between the gameplay designers, like Anson Maddox, really cool. Like I think I bumped into him online over at Vintage Magic. Um, but like this was the communication to the players back in the day. So like articles and like if you wanted to hear from a person like Mark Rosewater, like here's a picture of Richard Garfield, right? That's what you got. So this was like the communication to the players. It was like printed and stuff, right? So like people had that printed and they took it as it was, at face value and for what it's worth, right? And then like these things too. These are like that's why I like these printed books, right? And then like as communication develops over time, going from like printed paperback communication and like talking about the game, and or even if there's reserve lists discussions or actually a whole list of cards, it's the communication medium. So when it goes to internet, at a certain time internet was like a pretty important communication medium. Like it was far be like blogatog or blogging, even Reddit, like early internet communications using Reddit, was considered advanced at one time. Now we look back at that and we go, that's like old internet. Who blogs anymore? But at that time, it was like, wow, did you hear what Mark Rosewater put on the blog? Oh, that's what we needed to hear, right? So, now there's printed policies and the game's like so much bigger, right? So it's easy to look back at those small milestones and say, oh, it's not really official policy. But at the time, it was like a pretty big deal, right? For somebody to actually put that on the internet, right? Communication. So, communication is an important thing. Let's take a look at a few more cards. Appreciate the comments, everybody, for joining us for some Magic Stocks and some Magic Talks. All are welcome here. Oh no, you've been banned from the Lion. Ah, okay. Let's check it out. Contract from Below. Here's another card that is like only gets play in it only gets play in like ante. So like another card is the third card for ante. I like this is a good place to start, Tom, and it's a good list to start for the new year because like we can sort of set the benchmark. These are all ante cards. Anybody who's new to Magic, anybody who's joining in, been playing Magic for just a couple of months or a couple of weeks or maybe even 1 or 2 years, and you're still dipping into some of these older cards. Ante This is just the thing. There's a communication medium going on here. If you look at this list of cards, look at the communication that Wizards and Richard Garfield, this guy right here, is giving us about the gameplay state of the game, right? Like, this is the mentality. This is what was going through their heads, and they're like, this is how we're going to make the game. And it changes, right? So, in this back when they printed this card, there was ante. So that was is we've gone away from it. It's like that's just one of the. It's been sort of mutable, right? In a way, they're like this doesn't work for all players. But like this guy, right? This is the guy who was like, hey, we're designing the card, right? Like the Richard Garfield, like this is ante. We're gonna have ante in there, and that's where. And then so like when you look at the reserve list and you look at some of the mechanics, the reason I find it interesting is because those are mechanics. It's not like the card itself. A lot of times, it's what the card does. They're like, we don't want to put this on a card anymore for reasons. There's plenty of them, right? Whether it's too powerful, whether it's stupid, whether they want to do another type of gameplay mechanic later on that's going to interact poorly with it, or whether it's like banding is something that just went away from altogether. So, like, that's written communication on the card. Remove this card from your deck if you're not playing for ante. Discard your hand, ante the top card of your library, then draw 7 cards. When Magic was brand new, like this is what people are like, okay, that's what you can do. It's crazy powerful card, right? So there's a few old cards like that, and they show up here on this vintage list in collectability form. Like the bronze tablet, this exchanges ownership of some cards. The dark pact, it exchanges an ante card from the top card from your deck, and the contract from the below, it's like the original mulligan, except you draw 8, I think. And draw 8 new cards. Yeah, right? It's like one more than a hand in Magic, right? So the fact that this card here is on the movers and the shakers, like it says 0, right? But we'll see. Shahrazad. So like as the game moves on, where are we going to go from here? Like I like seeing. Here's Dire Straits. That's a like a keyword that we coined in the play group, and it's like you can look at the top card of your library if your life total is less than your opponent, right? So like that's just like more keywords, and then like removing keywords. So the reserve list does that. It tells us like a list of cards like Dark Carriage. Like who cares about Dark Carriage, the 4/4 that you can untap? I think it's the 0, untap it, and you can do that as many times as you like. Part that they say, whoa, um, not that we're all concerned about this Homelands card, but that we're just not going to do that again. Shahrazad. Here's a card that we just It's just crazy, right? This would make this when there's no time limit back in Magic. Like here's like now we have timed rounds, right? There was like a rules committee that got formed. Say, okay, a round of Magic is what 50 minutes, but this how are you gonna play a mini sub game using their libraries as decks? So Charizard white card, Arabian Nights rare, each player who doesn't, yeah, win the sub game loses half their life total. So they could imagine playing this card. Players play a Magic sub game using their libraries as their decks. Each player who doesn't win the sub game loses half their life rounded up. So you like it doesn't even say the player who loses, the player each player who doesn't win. So you could play this in four. It doesn't even say made for Commander, but it could be. It's got to be banned. Banned in Commander, absolutely, right? I loved it when we had the band list. Like speaking of player communication, like you would look in these price guides, and like on the price guide they'd have like a red dot, I think, next to the card, right? And if it was, yeah, if it was restricted, you'd have like a red dot next to the card. You're like, oh, I can only have one of those. So now I know it's restricted, right? Or it's banned, right? You're like, oh, I got the blue dot. Now it's banned, right? So, and you just found out the next month by month. Oh, there's a new banned card, right? How much is this thing? It's collectible. Get it at the vendor shop for $479. Whoa, that's insane. Decks using it? No decks found. Nobody wants to play this card. Who would? Shahrazad and the Demonic Attorney. Another cool card. And then another cool card that's seeing the movers and the shakers list. Another card from it's a banned all over the place. This card's just banned, 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 banned. I love the art on the card, right? I'm with Paws Brown on this one. I love the art on the cards. I love it when you see these cartoony arts. And like, here's a question. I loved the part of Magic 30 that I really liked to see. Right? Is this like when they were doing the artist panels, right? And they had a lot of people taking questions and comments, and like the artist panel had they were asking questions, and like a card like this Demonic Attorney and any of the folio art and the cartoony type art, big fan, huge fan of that type of art. um, I really wanted to ask, how did they like the cartoony artists, because they were talking about making sort what's the difference between an instant and a sorcery when you're developing art. That was a pretty neat question to hear the artists uh talk about it, and how like they try to invoke speed into the art and the an element of quickness. The cartoony style like we see here on this Demonic Attorney is a style that's just unwaveringly flavorful for Magic the Gathering. How do you mix that together? But this one says into a like a more realistic type of set, and how do you get those artists to work together? Well, that's why it's called Magic, folks. Remove Demonic Attorney from your deck before playing for Ante if you're not playing for Ante. Again, another Ante card. You can't play this card anywhere. You can just collect it. Maybe you could play it around the kitchen table, or if you want to go back to like house rules, this is a card that says each player antes uh, the top card of their library. So this, if your opponent doesn't concede immediately, each player must ante an additional card from their deck. Remove this from your deck if not playing for ante. Holy smokes. Here's a card that like you look back now, you go, what were they thinking? We have a lot of what the heck were we thinking moments in the game, right? And especially in design. And in this day and age, I can't even keep up with design. People read spoilers and do set reviews, and you look into new keyword mechanics, and you kind of imagine like what direction we're going. But like the cards on those reserve list, I sort of see them as like a yield sign or a stop sign. Like keep it out of the ditches, Wizard, because if we start reprinting cards like this Demonic Attorney, it's just gonna it's gonna be bad for business. They might. I mean, I could see it being removed from an anniversary set or a collector's set. But this is again a limited edition beta card, 319 bucks. Not going to get much play out of it. Simply nostalgia and collectability. Neat card. And the Falling Star. Here's a card. I actually have a card for like this. MTG Gaming Bob says, need to read up on contract law and promissory estoppel. There's three elements to prove a violation of contract law, which this falls under. Yeah, I don't know if you're. you read any, if anybody's read any videos, or there's a lot of information on promissory estoppel. There's another. Um I'll put a link in. Here's one of the best videos I can give you. Uh, if you got some time, read this video, or listen to, watch, and enjoy this video right here. This is the one. I think it's about 30 minutes. It's called The Black Lotus. I'll put a link in the comment section below, and it tells you almost everything you need to know about promissory estoppel and how it pertains to the. It's by Ristic Studies. This one came out 4 years ago. I really enjoy it. It gives a comparison to like Michael Jordan, the flu game sneakers, the collectability of stamps and paperweight uh, per price, and then magic cards. Falling Star. This is a card I actually own a copy of this card. And because I couldn't get a chaos orb. So I went with a falling star instead. And it's like, if you want to throw a card around on the battlefield, this is as good as I'm going to get for now. It's also a reserve list card. So like let's take a look at the throwing cards. Like this is another where is your head, right? Where's your head at? Right? Hey, Richie Dub says you can get a good look at a T-bone steak by sticking your head up the cow's, but I'd rather take the butcher's word for it. Uh, Falling Star, 138 bucks. This card is like this. Okay, this goes back to like the first expansion, Arabian Nights, and like this whole card flipping mechanic, like we saw with the Chaos Orb. It was sort of a gameplay mechanic that people, wizards or the gameplay community said, like, we're not going to make like physical dexterity a part of the game. So like flipping cards and throwing darts and stuff like that. That was considered to be like, well, maybe not throwing darts, but knockdowns too. Like you see where this is going. It's like stand your magic cards up against the wall, and if your opponent can knock it down, like you. So as the fact that they printed it on a card, it doesn't go away. It doesn't mean that that was not the line of thinking at the time. It just means that like that's maybe not what we're gonna do anymore. So a card like Falling Star that says flip Falling Star onto the battlefield of an air from an area of at least 1 foot. The falling star deals 3 damage to each creature it lands on. Tap all creatures dealt damage by falling star. If falling star doesn't turn completely over at least once during the flip, it has no effect. So it's got to actually turn over. So there's like a level of skill that's required to play this. Like, this is like I was big into Marvel cards, like couldn't wait like to like collect like these Marvel cards, right? Like these guys. And like these were like, oh yeah, Marvel. I love the color on them. They're full art. They don't you don't play with them, but they were collectible. And like baseball cards, knockdowns, and then the Magic came along. So like when people talk about sleeves, we didn't sleeve cards. Especially not playing knockdowns. So playing Magic cards on like cardboard on a table or on the ground was not really. There we go. MTG Gaming Bot. They put dexterity cards in Infinity. Yes, they did. Right. So we went away from dexterity. Now we're back to dexterity. Good point. I like that. That's a great comment. Right. Great comment, Bob. Yes, you're right. Changed my mind on that one. So there we go. Infinity. Yes, right? Like the homunculus cards. Ah, I love it. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you all for joining us. I'll leave you a I can leave a I can leave a link for that Black Lotus video in the comment section. I think I put it in up there. What else do we got here on the all list? And we definitely got a few more articles to cover. Lots of stuff. to bring to you folks throughout the week. Looks like we're getting on. We are getting on past the hour. We are half past the hour. My time is up, folks. I hope you've had a blast, and it's been a real gas. Thank you for joining. I don't know if you can hear this, but do we got any music happening? Anybody? Can we hear this? Can you all hear this? How's my audio? I got no levels on the audio on my mixer. Somebody give me a comment. Is there any tunes? No tunes. All right. Well, my time is up. It's past the hour. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. It's been a gas. It's the first one of the year of 2023. I want to thank each and every one of you folks for joining. Michael Superbacker, thanks for having my back. The coach for coming to all my games. MTG Gaming Bob for the great comment support in the comment section below. Richie Dubs, it wouldn't be a show without you. Tom Mitchell calling the plays. Everybody over at the Dual Brain channel. Ed, thank you. Pause Brown, Richie Dubs. And let's not forget Spider Steve for joining us. Twiddler and the Twiddler's Place, the funnest place to play Magic the Gathering online polls. Get yourself some. And let's give a shout out to Mr. DJ Longhair. This one's for you. I appreciate you guys for joining me. Let's have an amazing 2023 and let's do it together. All are welcome here over the channel. Thanks again for joining us. And we'll talk to you again real soon.